Siobhan McCarthy is in the studio. Studio with me this morning. She was here, I think, about a month ago, and she's a harpist. She's a musician. She's an opera singer. You do a lot of things. Siobhan, get close to the microphone there.
All right, here I am.
And you went through your first St. Patrick's Day with a really big Irish influence, didn't you?
Oh yes, I did. It was a lovely event.
Yeah.
Sober St. Patrick's Day.
You went to the sober St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Did Jack Kilroy keep you sober, or you didn't say to Jack, "Come on, let's have a drink together, Jack"? Did you? You didn't do that, did you?
No, I'm not much of a drinker, anyways.
You're like myself. JC and Eddie makes up for all of us. Look at Eddie.
There we go.
Smiling out there. Yeah, I asked you this before. I know we talked about this before when you were in, but you have a very strong musical background, don't you? Don't you?
Yes.
Talk to me about your mom, your dad, and the family and the music business.
Well, most of the influence came from my father's side. His whole family was into music. My grandmother was an opera singer. I know that my uncles all played instruments. My dad grew up playing trumpet and piano, and for a while was a professional trumpeter and did a lot of classical jazz and was also well known around Northeast Ohio. He was in the rock band North Star. So from there he progressed into classical music, got his PhD, and since then has been a composer, and it's blossomed from there. But from growing up with that influence and from having my brother and sister go into music as well. My brother is a professional Baroque violist in New York City, flies all over the world. My sister grew up playing flute, piano, and for me, I just couldn't stop with a lot of instruments that I did. I went through so many, but I really settled in singing. And since then I've picked up harp, of course, again, to get back to my roots, and piano as well.
Do you think that classical music background is a big help in all types of music? If you say you branched off to become do an Irish music, do you think I've heard this? That
Yes.
it is a great advantage to have that classical training.
Yes, no matter what music genre you go into, the best thing you can do is start classically. Not only for the academic purposes and the history, but also the technique that you learn from a classical background is the most healthy form that you could learn. So if you go into any other musical genre, if you have a healthy technique, your voice or your technique in any instrument will last a lot longer. Usually people burn out if
Now
they haven't.
you're a soprano, right?
Yes.
So I heard you sing some opera at the Rose of Tralee. By the
Yes.
way, that was a great job you did. What was that piece that you sang there?
It was stizzoso, stizzoso.
What?
God bless you.
Let me say that I'll say it a little slower.
What was it?
Stizzoso, mio stizzoso.
Oh, okay.
From Mozart's Marriage of Figaro.
Okay. Now, do you do a lot of that now? Do you do a lot of classical music when you worked on?
Because I believe in keeping up with a healthy technique, I still sing classically. I am in the Akron Choral Symphony down in Akron. And with my voice students, I always warm up before they come, so therefore I'm revisiting everything that I've learned in the past, and I'm keeping my voice going. Especially since I'm getting into other genres like jazz. I just joined a local jazz band.
Did you?
Yes, among the many things I'm doing. So jazz and musical theater now. I was just accepted into a show, Spam-A-Lot, in Akron as well. So while I'm doing those two genres, I need to make sure that my foundation and my technique is solid.
I would say musical theater could be a little complicated because you have to do all the different types of singing in it. Is that right?
Yes, musical theater, I mean, because of the characters you do, it's not just one sound that you create. So that's something I've really wanted to get into, just because it's a very colorful, very alive type of genre of music. I love it.
I saw something on Facebook where you were singing with the new barleycorn. You were chiming in and doing a little stuff with them.
Yes.
How do you like that now? How does that fit with what you like to do?
Well, I think I've gotten into more of the folk side of music because ever since I was little, I have a soprano voice, but somewhere this beefy voice is just a part of me. I don't know where it came from, but it's always been with me. Ever since the story that my parents told me of me just belting out Sesame Street when I was sitting in the bathtub, my mom honestly thought I was going to go into rock music from then on. But, because I'm Irish, it's something I want to do, and when I sing Irish, that part of my natural voice comes out.
Do you think you could become a rock and roller? Probably could.
If I wanted to, but there's too many things I want to do.
Is it hard on your voice? What's the toughest on a person's voice?
I would definitely say rock music.
Rock music?
Yeah.
Because you have to yell so loud, huh?
I think it tends to push that boundary of between healthy singing and not so healthy, almost like screaming. But it depends on what kind of rock music you go into. So, yeah. Listen,
we're going to come back and talk some more. And I want to say, well, I know he doesn't want to speak on the radio today. Nick Hissong, our boyfriend, he's here and he's on his phone, keeping an eye on things, making sure that we're treating his Siobhan right. So we're taking good care of her, Nick. Don't worry, being 20. Speaking with Siobhan McCarthy, and you live in Green, is it?
Akron.
And Akron, live in Akron. We were talking now when we were off the air there about your dad and his music, and I was saying to you how where the real money in music is in the writing and the publishing. And where I found out that first that Don McLean, who wrote American Pie, I think everybody knows that song, but that has made a multi-billionaire out of Don McLean. All his music he held on to. He never sold it off, we'd say, like the Beatles did when Michael Jackson acquired all the Beatles music. Don McLean has retained the publishing rights to all his music, and of course it has made him a multi-zillionaire. And we haven't probably heard anything new from Don McLean in, what would you say, JC, 20 years?
Been a while. He doesn't have to.
Oh, wow.
But you were talking about your dad, how he has published a lot of music, right?
Oh, yes, a lot of music.
And is it all classical?
I guess you could put it in classical, but a lot of his earlier stuff, he did a lot of jazz arrangements. He's done some funk here and there and some rock inspired pieces and a lot of electronic music, since a lot of our music has gone towards that kind of genre since the past decade.
So now you're toying with the idea of jazz.
Yes.
Yes. So what would be the instruments that you'd use in a jazz band?
The one that I'm in, I think you could call it a big band, jazz band. So a lot of woodwinds, saxophones.
That'd be how many pieces?
I'm sorry?
How many pieces would be in that band?
Do you mean how many instruments?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Well, there's definitely a drummer, saxophones, trombones, trumpets. You always need trumpets. A singer, which I hope to be continuing with this band into the summer here, as they do the performances. A guitarist and a bassist. And
Saxophone?
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, a saxophone. It's good. You gotta have a saxophone, right?
Yeah, if you've got a good brass and a woodwind section with some clarinets too, you're golden.
I read somewhere where people said the saxophone was the most romantic instrument in a band. Did you hear that? I don't know. I like the sound of the saxophone. I really do.
When it's played slow.
Yeah.
When it's well played.
Yes, woodwind instruments. If you don't play it well, it's something that is it's terrible in your ear.
It sure is.
Yes.
It sure is. Hey, you know what? Maybe you can get that jazz band in here some Sunday morning. We'd have a jazz session here.
Oh my
What do you think?
goodness.
Get them in here for a half hour or so.
I'll talk with them.
How many did you say? How many people in the band? You don't have to bring them all.
I'd say they're probably about 20.
Oh, forget
So
that.
I
We
don't
won't
think I
get
could
that
fit
many.
this. Yeah.
We've had 6 in here. When we bring Mary's Lane has 6 people in the band, and they all sit over there where you guys are now, and it works out pretty good.
that
We even
can
have a
work
drummer. He doesn't bring the drums, he brings that, what do you call that drum you put on the
Kaijan,
floor?
I believe.
What do you call that, Nick?
Kaijan, I think is how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
The fancy, I don't know.
He taps
it's
it
like
with
a
his
box.
hand, he's got a foot pedal
It's a
on it.
box.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
box.
that's it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I've
Those
seen
are pretty
those.
popular.
Mark Quinn
Yeah.
plays it. And when they come in, so we can accommodate 6 people. Now, we've had upright bass here. We've had 5 people and an upright bass. Remember that, JC?
I do.
That took up half that
Yeah.
area over there. So we love to have the live music. We've kind of backed off on it now for a while, but we're going to start it again for the summer. So we're going to try and have live music in nearly every other week. So talk to your jazz band, and you'll be the singer that day.
Yes. All right.
That's looking forward to that. Here on the Irish program on WHK. I'm going to go over to Siobhan now for just a minute. I want to ask you about the future. What do you think you're going to do music-wise? Music is in the family, obviously, so you love it. I can't see you doing anything else but something to do with music or entertainment, right?
Yes. I mean, for a few years I had wandered around in what I thought I should do, but it just kept coming back to music. So I think that's a sign I need to stick with it because it's my passion, it's my gift. I know I'll be teaching since I have a lot of talent with younger children. I am in the process of becoming a kinder music teacher. And as well, I'm going to be a performer. I know I'll be doing that, so I'll be doing both. I'll be doing a lot of things.
And you're going to get your jazz band in here, and we're going to hear all you guys play soon.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
right. Hey, there's a lot. Jazz is still very popular. I don't know what it is about jazz, but through the generations, this type of music has survived, and it's as popular today as it was when it started, isn't it?
Yes.
What is it about
Yes.
it, Siobhan, would you say? What is it about jazz?
You know, when I think about jazz, it kind of takes me back to a time. I think about my training at Interlochen classically. When my father went there in the 60s to the academy, jazz was seen as a rebellious type of music, so it wasn't allowed there at Interlochen then. But now, since it's become more acceptable, it's kind of like along the lines of classical music now.
Mhm.
But still, it's got a beat to it that is fun. Nick and I love going to hear the Cleveland Jazz Band. They're top notch. But jazz makes you get up and makes you get dancing. And just the complicated rhythm with it too, and the harmonies, it's fantastic.
Well, I have a friend. He was on this program. He had a I suppose you'd call it a country band, the Lost State of Franklin. Not really country. There's another. What do they call themselves? They're not country. They're well, anyway.
Bluegrass. Huh?
No.
Bluegrass?
No. Just the name that they call themselves escapes me right, but they call the Lost State of Franklin. But the leader of that group is a fellow named J. Scott Franklin. But now he has a jazz band. He's a trumpet player. He plays every instrument under the sun. But he's just started a new jazz band. And it's doing very, very well. The audience are really attracted to it. But he is a great trumpet player, great musician all around. I'll have to introduce you to him sometime so you can meet up. All you musicians get to know each other. You're a kind of a cult, you know that?
I guess so, yeah.
Yes, you are. Siobhan, thanks very much for coming in. But
Thank
stick
you.
around a few more minutes because we got coming up, it's 11:44.